So let's talk a little bit about Eliminator. You guys founded the company in
1969.
And what was the first boat you guys came out with?
First boat we came out with was an 18-foot semi-V bottom jet boat.
18-foot jet boat.
Yes.
So 69, and you guys,
Well, wait, I better back up. We actually had a flat bottom prior to that.
Okay.
But we only sold maybe 8 or 10 of those, and then we put a V bottom on that jet, on that flat bottom. That's when the jet sales just took off, went crazy.
Okay, very cool. And when did you guys, obviously Eliminator was going strong, but then the big Goliath was the 19 Daytona, right?
Yes. Yeah. When we first came with the 19 Daytona, it was a creation of Ron Eady, who has since passed away. And that guy was unbelievable. He knew boat bottoms. He did a lot of blown fuel hydros and all that stuff. And he built this 19 Daytona model for us. I saw him building I think it was a Kinswater hydro. And I say, Ron, what if we took these sponsons and just ran them back? Can we make a tunnel boat out of this thing? Oh yeah. Well, he'd tell you you could do anything you want as long as you're paying, which is fine. And so I said, oh, let's try that. So about 2 weeks later, he shows up with this model. And Greg Schumacher would contend to this. And here's this beautiful little thing. I go, holy shit!
Yeah.
If we can build a boat that neat, let's do it. So he built this 19 Daytona for us that. When it first came out, part of Boat Magazine on the front cover said, well, the revolutionary breakthrough in high-performance boating.
Well, it is.
Nothing like it. Nothing.
To this day, it's still one of the most popular drag boats for jets.
Yeah, that's amazing to this day. And we built one about a year ago and had it sitting on our showroom floor. And the young guys would come in and goes, what's this, a new model?
Yeah.
And I guess it shows that how far advanced that boat was in its day. That people would think that's a new model today because they haven't seen one. The average guy at the lake. But,
so that was in when, 76, 78?
That was, about 73.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, about 73.
So the 19 Daytona turned out to be a great drag boat. It also turned out to be a great river and lake boat for the times when the water was a little smoother.
Right, yeah, even though it was a pretty small boat, people loved that boat. I mean, it was really a two-seater, occasionally 4 if you weren't too big. But it just ran good. It was unbelievable.
I remember when I was a kid, Art Brody across the street showed up with a blower motor 19 Daytona, and it was the talk of the Keys back then. But so moving forward, you guys came up with a 21, and things started getting bigger from there. You guys have been in business for, let's see here, 69, so what is that, almost 50 years?
Well, 47 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Long time.
That's a lot of, that's a long time.
I mean, somebody at this desk getting pretty old, I think.
Exactly. Okay, so you guys run Daytonas from 19 to 36, is that right?
Yeah, 19 to 36.
And you run Eagles from 210s to 43s?
Right.
Okay. And then you have your deck boats. You have 2 deck boats or one?
No, one deck.
And that's the 28 fun deck?
Right, exactly.
And that was retooled 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
Yeah, probably 4 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so out of your 19 to 36 and 21 to 43 in your deck boat, what is Bob Leach's personal favorite boat out of the entire Eliminator line?
Well, that's a tough question. Well, I mean, love the 36 because I raced offshore in the 36. Love that boat. And today I'd have to say that is my all-time favorite boat. And prior to that, probably the 25 Daytona when we came out with that because it was big enough to put 5-6 people in. And with moderate power, you could exceed 100 miles an hour. And that's back in the days too. If you went 100, wow, I went 100 miles an hour.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of guys that say they go 100,
right.
But
so
they don't actually do it.
And I had a couple of recreational 36 Daytonas with Bob T 1200s and Mercury 11, whatever they had, 1075. But anyhow, I gave many people 150 mile an hour rides, probably hundreds of people, 200-300 people over the course of the years. And it kind of makes their day. They want to exceed 100. Here we go, 150. Even though a boat would go 170.
Yeah.
2 was my last personal boat.
We'll just say you went 150 miles an hour on the water. I mean, that's less than 1% of the people that say that.
Right.
Yeah, you know.
Right.
So that's very cool.
Yeah.
So the most revolutionary boat Eliminator came out with, you'd probably have to say, be the 19 Daytona?
Oh, absolutely, without a question. Yeah.
Okay.
Because there was nothing like it. And
I remember in the early to, I would say early, mid to the late 90s, the 25 Daytona was the boat.
Yeah.
That was the boat. If you were in Parker and Havasu and you saw a Daytona coming by and they had a blower motor, that was the guy you wanted to be.
Yeah.
You know? And then the 28s came with the twins and you had the tall deck and the short deck.
Right. Yeah.
My personal favorite boat for the RDP community, if they want to know, is actually the 28 Speedster right now.
Yeah.
That is my favorite boat that Eliminator builds.
Yeah. Well,
But
yeah.
I'm a nobody next to him, so I don't know anybody cares about that.
No. The 28, when we came out with the 28, Bob Teague tested it for Powerboat Magazine, and he said, when they hit a home run, no, they didn't either, they hit it out of the park. And that's just been phenomenal. I think that boat's got a great bottom. Which we
I rode in it remember out in Havas, I rode in it with the 700s, me and Tony messing around in rough water with 145, 146 or whatever.
Right.
You know, it was a pretty fast boat, so. Anyhow, that's going to pretty much wrap up our interview with Bob Leach. Bob, is there anything you want to say to the RDP guys?
No, I'll just say we really appreciate all of your, being on your forum and getting out with the people. And you guys
Schumann does a great job. He's on there every day.
You guys do a great job.